Business time now. A check on the top business headlines of the day with Yuka Roya. Hello there.
Hello, Gavin.
Here in France. We're talking economic matters. The government kicking off a bit of a decisive week to finalise planned labour reforms. Always a bit of a thorny area here in France.
That's right. Labour Minister Muriel Pénicaud will receive representatives from MEDEF, France's largest business lobby, this afternoon. Discussions with labour unions will take place throughout the week. The reform is designed to make hiring and firing easier, and one of the contentious points of discussion is a proposed cap on compensation for people who have been unfairly dismissed from work. Catherine Viette takes a look.
Annie Piala was dismissed from her job in July. The reason given, not getting along with a colleague. The 56-year-old is taking her case before the labor court. Her employer, an urban planning company, thanked her repeatedly for her work. She wants to prove that her dismissal was unfair.
The dismissal put me in a state of suffering, where I wondered if it was worth it to go on living. The fact that I've got a shot at justice, that I'm being heard, will help me in rebuilding my life.
Reforms proposed by the government would legally cap the amount of compensation workers would be able to claim in court. Right now, it's the labor court judge who makes that decision.
The work of a judge is to assess the human side of things, the situation, the person, what's happened, all the things like that. Tomorrow, if there's a sliding scale, it's justice by internet.
Employers are eagerly awaiting the implementation of a cap on compensation claims. This boss let go an assistant because of compatibility issues. After a lengthy ordeal, it wound up in labor court.
I was convicted by the labor court because of an employee that I believe was really not that great a worker.
According to the employer federation MEDEF, 1 out of 3 companies has ended up in liquidation after being taken to labor court. Seeing compensation claims by dismissed workers capped is a priority for employers.
All right, some interesting discussions ahead by the look of it. So, Yuka, let's take a check on the market action.
And the European markets mostly opened in the green, following a recovery on Wall Street and positive trading in Asia. Investors are looking ahead to this week's gathering of central bankers in the United States. Stimulus from central banks has been one of the reasons for this year's stock market surge, but the US Federal Reserve is expected to raise interest rates and scale back its bond buying program, and the ECB, European Central Bank, may follow suit. Now, some more of the day's business headlines for you now. And shares of Great Wall Motors were suspended as investors waited a formal announcement about its bid to buy Fiat Chrysler. The Chinese car maker has confirmed its interest in the purchase. Fiat Chrysler, the maker of Jeep, is the world's 7th largest automaker and is seeking a partner or buyer to help it manage rising costs. Johnson & Johnson has been ordered to pay $417 million to a woman who claimed she developed ovarian cancer after using baby powder for a long time. A jury in California ruled that the company failed to properly warn consumers about cancer risks from its talc-based product. The decision marks the largest award yet in a string of lawsuits. The firm is facing nearly 5,000 similar claims across the United States. A UN report on North Korea's sanctions violations says 2 shipments from Pyongyang to Syria were intercepted in the past 6 months. They were allegedly taking material to a Syrian government agency responsible for the country's chemical weapons program. The UN panel of experts is also investigating the use of the VX nerve agent in Malaysia to kill Kim Jong-un's brother back in February.
I've just got time for one final story. Yeah, we actually started off by talking about unfair dismissals, that kind of thing here in France. In Russia, a flight attendant filing a rather interesting lawsuit against Aeroflot, the airline.
That's right. Veteran flight attendant Yevgenia Margarita claims that the airliner sidelined her and some of her colleagues because they were, quote, old, fat and ugly. The 42-year-old says she worked for 15 years as a senior flight attendant, but has now been demoted to serve only economy class clients. She blames the move on the company's drive to make the cabin crew younger and more physically attractive. A court in Moscow is due to rule today on Margarita's lawsuit against Aeroflot. Take a listen to what she had to say.
They say that a flight attendant with a size bigger than a 10 may block the emergency exit in an emergency situation. that we are impossible to pass by in the aisles, and that we are not attractive for passengers. This stereotype, no matter where it comes from, is alive and well at Aeroflot.
Goodness, what an interesting case there. Thanks very much, Yuka Roya with the Business News.